Hi there, my name is John Stevens, pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we're part of the ELCA, and welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary text. We tie into an item from the Dollar Tree. This is for the narrative lectionary, and we're looking, it's the fifth Sunday after Epiphany. I was just saying, I was on the Revised Common Lectionary, for a second there, I always have this fear that I'm going to say the fifth Sunday after Pentecost. Completely a liturgical, church geeky thing to worry about. But anyway, it's the fifth Sunday after Epiphany, and we're looking in the narrative lectionary, we're looking at Luke, the 7th chapter. And this story about, when Jesus says, I haven't seen faith like this. I mean, this is greater faith than all of Israel, or I forget exactly the phrase, but this idea that the centurion who gets praised is an outsider, is someone who isn't part of the promise. Here, yet Jesus is praising them, and it doesn't go that well for him. And so, but the way I'm going with on the children's sermon for this is I am using a coloring book. And I want to talk about coloring outside of the lines. That for some folks, coloring outside of the lines is just a no-no. Yet for some, taking the risk of coloring outside of the lines, this beautiful thing can form. And that Jesus is always stepping outside the lines, and it can make us a little bit nervous. And it's a springboard on this, trying to get into the direction of the children's sermon. But this idea of crossing the lines and reaching out and coloring a bigger picture, and there's something there. Is something where the direction I'm going. When I was thinking about this story from Chicken Soup for the Soul, I believe, one of the first editions, years ago, and it had the story about a kid who experienced two teachers. The first teacher, let's say first grade, Tommy. We'll just call him Tommy. I forget what his name was in the story, but Tommy is coloring a picture, and he's using purple. And as he colors the picture and he's making, I think, a sun. Or, he's making a sun, or he's making a snowman, or he's making something out of purple. And let's say it's the sun, and he's drawing the sun, and the teacher comes in and says, Tommy, there's no such thing as a purple sun. So Tommy learns from that he's done it wrong. And the next year, there's an assignment, and they're to color, and he sits at his desk, and there's a white piece of paper, and he doesn't color anything. And this teacher walks by, looks down, and sees the blank piece of paper and says, Tommy, that is the most beautiful snowstorm I have ever seen. And I love this idea of the context of how you look at something and see this gorgeous. And Jesus always sees us as people who belong. Jesus sees us as people who belong to the promise, and because of Christ includes us. Because of His love, includes us in the promise of God. So it's wonderful. So I'm going with the coloring, this idea of coloring outside the lines, including the edges, those who stand there. So I'm hoping that can be a springboard for your own thinking around a children's sermon. And as always, thanks for stopping by, and have a great week.